I love the Neve pre's because, maybe it's a deficiency in my own hearing, but all of the EQ positions in the 1073 are all the ones I like. So when I'm recording, the 1073 just does everything I want it to do. The clarity, the sound of it, the transformers, all of that's all this thing that I really love. The problem is that oftentimes there's 250 feet plus of mic cable between my 77 and the 1073. And it doesn't like it. So I just take the TRP and set it as close to the microphone as possible. I find a gain stage that's actually relatively generous for the microphone. And then I send it back into the desk as a line. It comes back to the Neve and hits the line input. And so the TRP's clarity and transparentness I'm taking for granted, and then putting it into a microphone that's really not a microphone preamp that's not transparent. It imparts a sound on it, whereas the TRP really doesn't. So, and it's actually I've distorted the TRP, which is not bad, in a sort of slightly 70s germanium transistor distortion sort of sound. I don't know how to describe it. It's really buzzy and bad in a cool way. But that's actually, there's a song on Jack's last record, the very last song on the record, Take Me With You When You Go. There's a solo on there that the guitar sound is just, I can tell you there's not a pedal in the world, there's not an amp, there's not anything in the world that will ever get that sound, ever. And why? Well, because I used an R92, and that R92, little to my knowledge, was hooked up to a TRP out on the floor. And we put it in front of Jack's Bassman, or not Bassman, his Vibroverb, and, which is, not wide open, but as close to wide open as possible. Then it came in, and I actually went into a Helios mic pre at about 45 dB of gain. And then out of that Helios mic pre, and that was a fluke. I'll try the Helios. And then I brought it back into the line input of the Neve, and I brought the fader down. I hit solo and brought it up about, I would say about this far off the bottom. Way down there in the minus whatever 100 part of the fader. And it was at 0 out the speakers. And it was that sound. It was that guitar sound. And I was like, okay, route it to tape. Check this out. He's like, oh, that's awesome. And we cut it. One take, done. Now, was that wrong? Oh yeah. On so many levels, technically. Was it right? It was perfect. So the TRP was blowing up, and it was, trust me, it was blowing up. And then that was blowing up at line level into the Helios at 40 dB of gain, which was blowing up also into the line level of the Neve, which was not blowing up. Well, I guess actually really it probably was, since the fader was so far down. So, it's kind of like the Revolution guitar, that was a V76 out into a V76. It's just one out into another. Same sort of deal. One mic pre blowing up, another mic pre blowing up, another mic pre blowing up. It's just really great sound. Absolutely, positively confident it is impossible to repeat. There's not a pedal in the world that'll do it. Because it wasn't. It was wrong and right.
And you